1, live.
All right, good evening, Northport Nation. Good evening. Welcome to a special edition of the Bobcat Blitz. We're coming to you live from the Preserve. Tonight, Lady Bobcat Soccer JV is playing right now versus Venice. Varsity will begin at 7 o'clock. I'm Sean Kirkpatrick. Joining me from the studio, our host, Mr. John Rawlings.
Hey, how you doing there, Sean?
I am doing good. I'm beginning to like our Tuesday live on the scene action. Last Tuesday, we tried doing basketball at Port Charlotte High for the first ever broadcast of an away basketball game for Northport High School basketball program. Didn't get a lot of feedback on that game. I think the audio was really muffled. Not sure if we're going to do it again, but I enjoyed it. I had a great time doing it. Unfortunately, our winning streak came to an end there, but the boys are going to be back tomorrow night here at the Cage. And I forgot who they're taking on, Lemon Bay, I believe. They're 5-1 now record. The ladies tonight, the varsity team here, they're also 5-1. Keeping neck and neck with our boys varsity soccer, who are 7-1 with 3 ties as well. So all 3 of those teams are really trying to be who's going to be the one with the second loss. We don't want that there. So it's been a nice competition between these teams these last few weeks. So I do want to thank all the coaches for all that.
Who are they playing tonight, and what's the score currently?
Tonight, the JV, it looks like they're down 1-0. They're taking on Venice here. The girls are. Tomorrow night, the boys will take on Booker. They're already having senior night before Christmas break. That's kind of a newer tradition now. It used to be the last game of your season. Now they're pushing it up earlier. So they'll be taking on Booker tomorrow. So very interesting. If you go to the Facebook site, I put the schedule down, 18 events this week alone. I've never seen that many events for Northport High School athletics in 1 week. So I don't know how Tony Miller, how Miss Liz Skeleton, how they organize the coaches, the buses, all that. Bless their hearts. That's a job I would not want to try to figure out.
Fantastic. So you kind of explained the field here a little bit, because if people have not seen our facilities, we've done some upgrading for the track. And
I've been saying this for a good 2 years now. We have the best field that I've announced for. All the away games I've gone to, they're all grass. But this is an all-purpose, I don't know if it's artificial turf. I don't know what they call this. It's just regular turf thing. They've got line for American football, regular world, soccer football. They also have lacrosse. If we ever get lacrosse, they got them lined here. The county switched over. Apparently, it saves them money in terms of maintenance and watering and fertilizers and groundskeepers. So, love this track out here. I can see the numbers beautifully when I'm announcing. So, great thing. Well, John, I've got some special guests here tonight. We got an update on the girls basketball program. I'm going to bring in Coach Hans. We've met Coach Hans before.
I'm going to bring you on solo.
I said basketball? I'm sorry. Oh, my gosh. I am so sorry. About this far away. All right. Come on in, Coach. We know Coach Duque. We've seen him with the girls cross-country team. He came in for our preseason show on girls soccer. Again, I already said you're 5-1. 5-1 right now. Doing great tonight. Why don't you tell us about tonight's game? We've got always a tough contest with Venice.
Always going to be a rivalry here. Of course, nobody wants to lose tonight. We've been working really hard, and we just have to play every game. Every single game is different. We've been up and down. Like you can see Lake Ranch and Venice and Riverview, they've been up and down. We just got to make sure we're consistent.
Can you hear him okay, John?
Yeah. Can you have him pick the mic up a little closer to him?
There you go. There we go. So you got Venice tonight. What was your last home game? It was, I called it, didn't I?
That was Lemon Bay.
No, I wasn't there. Oh, yes, I was not. I was there for last Tuesday's game. That's right.
So after that was Lemon Bay, and we won 4-0.
Good.
Yeah, we got a chance to do a little
new formations and all that. Little players that might not normally play a lot. Exactly. Jump in there. I think, and at this time of the year, you're not quite halfway there, but you're getting deep into your season. Yep. You need to see how those bench players are doing,
and also thinking about next year, because we're gonna lose Van Dusen, we're gonna lose Dron, so I have to try other forwards, stuff like that. So
and you still came out pretty good for it. That's fantastic. Yes. So tonight, what are you expecting out of Venice tonight?
Well, they're gonna come out roaring. We have to be stronger than them. So we're always gonna come out provoking and playing and being physical. We just gotta stay on ground and just go for it.
I want to say last year, I always remember that Northport has to go through Venice a lot of times through the districts and all that. Is that the case the last couple of years? I can't remember that.
We're always in the same district.
Right. Always. So it's always they're either here or we have to go there for like the first round. It always feels like.
Yes.
So it's a very, very big rivalry here. So, Coach, who do you have for us tonight? We're going to meet some of our players tonight.
All right, so we have Bella Duronsel here.
I'll step out of the way here.
Okay. And we got Gabby Ludi.
You're fine.
come on in. Not that far away. Introduce yourself. What grade you in? What position do you play?
Hi, my name is Bella Duranzo. I'm a senior this year, and I play center forward for high school.
Hang on a second.
I'm Gabby Moody. I'm in 10th grade, and I play right forward or defense.
Go forward or defense, depending on the game? Okay. So, ladies, what do you think about the season so far?
So far, I think we've been doing really well as a team, considering that a lot of girls are coming new to varsity, and working together, we've done a really good job. And I hope that we keep doing a good job in coming games.
Good. So you took on Lone Bay last week, and then before that was that team. Was it Barron Collier or something like that? I can't remember what it was. It was 1-0. Parrish, that's the one. Yeah, that was a tough game. They're knocking you around. There's a red card. Yeah, I've seen. How did you feel about that game? You both did great. I saw you both there.
I think it was a very hard game. But
were they hitting you pretty hard?
Yeah.
You kept your composure though. That's always a good thing to see at this age group. So
I think it's just if we all can just work together and try our hardest, we can do it.
Yeah. How long have you been playing for Northport High School, both of you?
I've been on varsity since freshman year.
Since freshman year? How about yourself?
Since freshman.
Oh my goodness. All right. And before that, I'm assuming you played Fusion, the competitive team, city team, something like that. Yeah. Did you have Coach Hans before? Were you one of them that came up?
Yeah. As a freshman, I did.
Yeah. All right. So how are you doing with, it's almost midterms. People in the crowd might, our audience might forget they're still students. They have to stay for midterms. I believe that's next week, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how are you balancing the athletics and the academics?
It's definitely not easy considering we have practice, when we don't have games. But, of course, after practice, go home and you shower, and then you do some of your homework, and just keeping up with grades is important, definitely, especially as a student athlete.
You get enough rest? Enough calories?
Yeah.
Keep your grades up?
I had good grades. Yeah.
Good. All right. John, I'll let you jump in for a second here.
What's the school camaraderie like?
What's your school camaraderie like? I'm sorry, say again. Repeat.
With the winning ways of soccer, what's the school camaraderie like with the athletes and the students?
Could you catch that? What's the camaraderie like? All the winning, it just feeds upon itself. How's your camaraderie as a team?
Winning game after game, I think it boosts confidence for our girls a lot, especially after last year Parrish being one of our harder games, and then coming out this year and beating them is definitely a confidence boost, and it gets us ready to play teams like Venice tonight.
Yeah. Did you guys have any preseason kind of? You had preseason games, right? Did you have any kind of events that y'all went together, or do you do?
Just
Lemon Bay, yeah. Well, speaking of camaraderie, how was the Key? This is our first show since we talked about the Key West trip, because I did basketball last week, so we didn't get to talk about it. What did you think about that Key West trip?
Well, it was really nice to get all the teams together, the boys and girls basketball team. It was really just a nice
You need to put the mic closer.
And it was really great that all 4 teams won their games as well.
I was live, well, not live, as best I could from the coaches. Coach Hans gave me a lot of scores. Game 1, boom, you got it. Then came game 2, boom. It's we get 4. We had the parade that day, so we're telling everybody the scores. We're about to have 4 in a row. That was so cool.
Yeah, we got the score there that day from free kick. Remember that?
That was really cool.
Have them project a little bit louder.
Don't be shy.
Louder.
Little louder, yeah. So Key West, do you all take one bus down, or are you all in different vans?
It was one bus for the girls soccer and girls basketball, and one bus for the guys.
That's smart. Good. Smart call there. Did you stop every hour? Drive Coach crazy with Taylor Swift songs?
No, we didn't stop very much, actually.
Good. Did you go to Friday night or Saturday morning? Or
Friday, we left at 2. Yeah, we left.
Oh wow, so you got that. All right. Do you think, based on the camaraderie and all the good events, you're gonna do it again next year? Do you think they're gonna invite you down, or?
Definitely yes.
Go ahead, Coach.
So, we've been talking about it, and it was totally a success. The trip there, basketball, soccer, all of it. How the kids were cheering for each other and all that, both in the soccer games and the basketball games.
Yeah.
I think we were already talking about next year, maybe throw marathon the first day as we go down.
Oh, you can play them? They have high school. That's right. I forgot about that.
Because that's what other schools do. They go down.
Oh, I see. Like a weekend.
Down,
gotcha.
stay at night, play next day.
Oh, that's great. Would Marathon be up for that?
I'm pretty sure they
That's
would.
awesome.
And they were very cordial. They were very nice over there in Key West.
Yeah.
They gave the girls food, like really good lunch and everything. So, like we thanked them.
Did you have any time to go to Key West City and walk around, or no? Bus and go bed and go home. Did you go home that night, or did you stay that night?
I had no time for that. We just went to sleep.
Good. Gotcha. Well, we'll keep going here. So, what was your best moment of the Key West trip? You got anything special happen? Nice and loud, guys. I can't hear you.
My favorite moment of the Key West trip was staying together at the hotel with the girls and scoring in the Key West game.
That sounds like a practice answer. Come on, it is something. You didn't leave Han. You made Coach Duque run off the bus because you closed the door on him. Anything like that?
The worst part was having him in the back of the bus.
Oh, Dad watching you. Well, I wanted to go so bad. No, not a single coach invited me down. But next year, you've got to let me come down there for the camera work.
Make sure next year.
So I can film the game and get some. We really enjoyed the pictures.
This first time was kind of like trial. But now next year, we'll make sure next year you come over.
Yeah.
This first year was kind of a trial.
Yeah.
We were all over the place with that, but it came out good. So we'll make sure next year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we'll go back to the game tonight. Like I said, Venice has always been one of our district rivalry games. They've had good years. We've had, that kind of thing. So do you play them again the rest of the year, or just the one only?
We play them away in January. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, it's the last game of the season.
Okay.
We'll play them again.
All right. So January.
These games count because it will decide who's going to host some districts. We need to make sure.
Gotcha.
We win, so we are home in districts.
So students, that's enough to keep you going. You want to keep that home field advantage here. It's a great home field advantage. We need better crowds, though. I'm calling out the Wildcat Blitz family. You've got a great product here. Come out and support them.
As we get to the end, in districts and regionals, the crowd will come out.
Yeah.
That's when they come out.
Because it's a fun, like I said, just 5-1. The loss was against North Fort Myers. That's always a really top team. So that's a good, way to experience how it's at the next level. Those teams are pretty high level. So that's good. You go out and say anything to your friends or family that you're on Facebook?
My mom will probably see this.
Yeah.
Mine will too.
Is she part of the Wildcat Blitz Facebook page?
My mom is, yeah.
Awesome. Is she here tonight?
Yes, she will be.
All right. Well, let her go to the press box. We'll look at it and see how you did on there. So.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So what do you play tonight? What position?
Center forward.
And you're playing?
Right forward.
Oh, so you're side by side. So how's your communication over the last 2 years? You feel like where they're going to be at all times, or you kind of have a feel for it?
As the years have gone on, our positions have been shifted a little bit. So this is the first year that I'm playing with Gabby on my right side. But so far, it's worked out pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we get more into the games, it's definitely gotten a bit better.
Good. So every game you're improving, you're feeling better. Practices are getting more. You know what the coach's division he's looking for. Yeah. John, go ahead. I think I have one more question. They got to go. You got another question for him?
I just text you, but how do they like the field surface in comparison to other schools? How do they like playing on the artificial?
Let's talk about that. He's asking, compared to what you played, and you played a lot of fields around the area, how does ours rank up there in terms of ball, the cleat holding, slipping?
I definitely love our field. I love playing on turf. The ball is much faster, most definitely, compared to grass.
Yeah.
So the speed of play is definitely quicker, and you got to think on your feet quicker. And, your passes have to be very precise in order to get where you need it to go.
Yeah.
I think it could also be used as an advantage for teams that don't play on the turf.
That's a great point right there. All these other players have grass fields, and they come here, the slightest amount of moisture, and it's you're slipping and sliding. Have you had to adjust your cleats for this field, or do you have the same cleats you wear in the grass?
I have the
Same cleats? Yeah. How about when you do go to away teams, do you see like potholes and divots and?
Of course.
Yeah. And that is the worst thing. You go to line up a kick and your foot slips and the ball bounces one way.
Yeah.
Especially the goalies can't stand that nonsense. Yeah. So you play for this field now. It's been 2 years, or 3 years they've had this field. Yeah. So good. All right. Well, John, I'm gonna let them go. Looks like I got to get going for their coaches meeting here. You got any last minute questions? Oh, is it safety? How about safety wise on this field? Do they have any data yet in terms of injuries versus grass fields, getting cleats locked up or anything like that?
That I know of.
No major cleat injuries. No difference.
Burns.
Oh, do you get those strawberries? Do you get those really bad burns here? Do you? Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna let him go, John. If that's okay.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Again, name and grade.
Gabrielle Levy, 10th grade.
Yep.
Isabella Duranzo, senior.
All right. Congratulations. Thank you. And thanks, Coach. Thank you very much. Good luck, ladies. All right.
Very
They're
cool.
going to go back there. That's for some of our varsity girls soccer players. And I will be announcing them tonight. Come on down to the Preserve. Plenty of seating. Unfortunately, we need to help get the crowd up here. We really do need to help them out because it is a fun product out here.
I'm glad you asked them about the field and the safety conditions and what they face, because the one interesting thing they talked about was the speed of the ball on our surface compared
to fast. It looks like an ice field.
So I'm wondering how that works when they transition away from our home field to a field that doesn't have the artificial surface.
Right.
I wonder if that changes their game a little bit.
Like, do you think during practice they either speed up or slow down the game accordingly? Yeah. That's a good. I'll have to ask Coach Hans that.
It's really interesting to be able to see the facility and see what's going on behind you at the same time, but get some really cool insight from both the athletes and the coach. And
let's see what we find here.
We're
looking at
great picture.
Show the field. It is a wonderful field. I like it. I really do. And again, being a lazy announcer, I can see the numbers much easier during American football season. I can actually see the 30-yard line. But we'll angle it to the court's side here. There we go.
Well, and a lot of times we have painted fields back in the day that when you have a heavy rainstorm and lots of foot traffic, you lose your markings a lot of times.
That's a good point. I've yet to see the rain on this field, but it's supposed to drain pretty quick. They've got that crushed, it's like a sand walnut shell crushed thing. It's supposed to drain it pretty quick. I've never seen sloshing out here after a rainstorm of any kind. So that's a good point there. No, it's the only thing I do have to say, it's not the school's fault. They can't control it. If you know your dimensions in soccer, when they do a corner kick, there's supposed to be a kind of a gap between the corner and what's called the goal box. And it's pretty small. So their corner kicks have to be kind of, instead of a nice looping arch, they have to really, have strategy around that. So I wish they could have changed that a little bit, but they can't because it's permanent lines. They can't just go and spray paint extra soccer lines.
Right.
They have to use the actual American football sidelines as their out of bounds line. So a little bit more narrow field. The game's a little more compressed from side to side. The length is still the same as we had before. But it's just a little bit in. But
is it like that? Is it like that all over?
It's variable. I've looked into that. There's no standard on it. There really isn't. It all depends on because unfortunately most of these stadiums, they're built for American football first, so that's how wide they're going to be. So I've seen different varieties. I think Charlotte used to have an actual wider field because I think they play theirs outside of the football field, and I think Sarasota High is the same thing. I think they have their own wider soccer pitch outside the American football stadium.
Fantastic.
So there's a variety in there. But the kids, they've done all the fields. They've gone to all the tournaments. They go to Tampa, Naples. So they have fields of all different dimensions. The length is usually the same as the width. That's either compressed or widened.
So are we?
They're about to go here. Hang on. Can we get some goal here? Oh. We just got a goal.
Nice.
That puts it at 2-1. We're down 2-1, and we got 17 minutes left in the game. I can hear it happening. Like, it's coming.
Yeah, we saw him running across the screen there a little bit too.
I want to get the JV coach. We're going out of time, but Miss Morgan, she used to be one of our teachers here. She used to play for us as well. So she's doing our JV coaches here. We'll try to catch her on an episode later on when we get to alumni coaches again. So
fantastic.
So John, do you want to go ahead and move into Coach Hill, or you want to keep working on the camera work there?
No, we'll slide over. Coach Hill is on.
Okay. And, let me go ahead and do real quick here, guys. Here at the Blitz, again, we're not coming to you from Beef Brady's this week. We're going to be here live at the Preserve until about 6:30, and I'll be going to the press box. We want to recognize this last week's Jersey Mike's Players of the Week. They both come from basketball. Our first one for the ladies, we have Riley Richards. She is a freshman on the basketball team, scored 20 points, had 4 assists, 4 steals, and the girls' 71-47 win over Braden River. Riley demonstrates the Bobcat way by being competitive, accountable, teamwork, and sportsmanship. Again, those are going to be CATS for cats. For our gentlemen, we have Elijah Lubsey. He was named last week's player of the week. He's a senior on the basketball team. So far, is averaging 17 points per game and 10.7 rebounds through the first 7 games. He demonstrates the Bobcat way by being competitive, all-in, teamwork, and spirit. We'll have to get on those soccer coaches to get some of their players nominated. But congratulations, Riley. Congratulations, Elijah, for being last week's Jersey Mike Players of the Week. We had a little break from them for a while, so good to see that back. All right, I'll let John take it away for a minute here.
I think we're going to score again.
Oh, no, yeah, it got saved about a foot outside the bar there.
All right. I saw the action.
Good. So
All
Coach
right.
Hill, Eugene Hill, for those of you who don't know, is our varsity wrestling coach. He'll be on next year. I'm going to go ahead and I'll just have it going here. I got to get going on my announcing duty, if that's okay.
All right, buddy. Well,
you got enough for the rest of the show, Coach?
Yep, we got you.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and log off here then.
All right,
guys, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Coach Hill, how you doing, buddy?
I hope is the camera working now?
You are live on the air and looking good.
Okay, we're 2 weeks into the actual competition season, and we've done really well. We started on December 2nd. We started in Brandon at the Jim Graves tournament. We took 3rd. On last Friday and Saturday, we were at the Kings Classic, where we also took 3rd. We've got a really good group of varsity boys that are coming back, led by Vincent Donatelli, who's the number 2 ranked 165-pounder in the state. We've got Austin Nappy, who is the number 7 ranked 138-pounder in the state, and a really kid that's really doing well for us. He just won the Kings Classic tournament last weekend, and that was at 113-pound Lachlan Harris. On the girls' side, we've had 3 really good girls that are returning this year, and led by team captain Solana McCougan. Solana McCougan is 5-1. The only loss that she has was when she was in the boys' tournament 2 weeks ago. She was in the boys' tournament. She lost to a boy, and then this weekend at the Kings Classic, she won the girls' tournament. So we're doing pretty well.
So you just said she lost to a boy. So they do get to intermingle with the wrestling, right?
The girls get to intermingle with the boys until they get to districts. Then at districts, they have to wrestle with the girls.
Okay.
But sometimes we put, some of our better girls in with the boys because we feel that with a better competition, it makes them better.
Okay. And you still approach this as a team approach a lot of times too, right?
Yes. This is also a team approach. We're going to have district duels. As you know, you coming from a wrestling background here now, we've changed it a little bit where we have a dual state championship and an IBT state championship. So we have the dual competition that will be on January 4th at Palmetto Ridge, and that's where the whole team takes on other teams, and the team that wins the duals tournament goes on to the regionals and on to the state. And then districts will be at Northport High School this year on February 16th. That's when the individual kids can go down to regionals and go to state, and you can still win state both as a dual championship team and then as a individual bracketed team tournament team also.
So let's talk here a little bit about the wrestling room itself. You just don't do wrestling part-time, right?
No, we run it all year round. We've got a bunch of kids. We've got about, I'd say 10 boys that wrestle all year round. And then we got 3 girls that wrestle all year round. My daughters are still in elementary school, but my daughter at 9 years old is the number 1 girl in the state. We run a youth program all year round. We run a high school program all year round. And we don't have any off seasons.
So what's it like? And I know this, so I'm going to ask this anyway because I was part of the original crew at the high school with their youth wrestling program. And what's it like to see the parents and the students from the youth side of things get involved, and then have your athletes transition all the way up into where they're at today in high school?
Well, I've been here 7 years now, and I was lucky enough that the greatest wrestler that we've ever had was Dominic Joyce, and I got to see Dominic as a 5th grader come up through high school. Right now, I've had Vincent Donatelli, who's our senior. He's the number 2 kid in the state. I had him for 7 straight years. All of my kids wrestle. My daughter, like I said, is 9 years old. She's the number one girl in the state, and I can't wait to see her come up and become a state champion and do everything she needs to do. It's great because these kids, you get to know them from little kids all the way up to what I call young men and young ladies, and it's outstanding. It's rough for me because I do both youth and high school, so like I have the 16, 17 hour days. With the was teaching, then I go into my high school practice, and then as his clock starts youth practice, but it's all worth it. Okay, because wrestling is an outstanding sport where if you can be successful in wrestling, you can be successful in anything.
And talk a little bit about the culture that you have to keep as a dad, a teacher, and a coach.
Yeah,
Uh,
wrestling is hard. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
we run miles every day. We wrestle, we lift. It's not an easy sport, and it has to have a specific kid to come in and do that. Wrestling has won more UFC titles than any other martial art in the world. And it's really because I think wrestlers have a different mentality than everybody else. I believe we're the strongest mentally. And being the strongest mentally, we can go out there and we can dominate not only in the wrestling match, but then if we go into a martial arts like the UFC and then in life. I mean, you're not just strong and physical. To be a great wrestler, you have to be strong mentally. And I just love it to work with these kids. Like some of the two best wrestlers we've had now, seeing them for 7, 6, and 7 years, just seeing them progress and seeing them become, from going from little kids to know what they're going to do to being state champions. It's outstanding. It's awesome.
And so we used to have some pretty good stiff competition up in the Brandon area, in the Palmetto area. Are there areas now that are competition to Northport?
Yeah, Charlotte's always going to be your number one team in this area. Charlotte's very good. We've always been, since I've been here, we've been very good. And then Lemon Bay has really come up along there, too. Manatee's always got a good team.
Yep.
So there is some very good wrestling in this area. Of course, you've got your Miami teams with your South Days and your Southwest Miami, but our region that we are in has become the best region in the state. 2 years ago, there's 14 weight classes in our region, won 10 of the 14 weight classes. So if you come out of our region, you've got a very good shot to win a state title.
Well, you talked a little bit about seedings there. I'm taking it if you're a number one seed out of our region, you're kind of set up for states.
Yeah, I mean, we were lucky in the last 3 years. We had Dominic Joyce, who was a three-time state finalist. He was just an outstanding wrestler. And the competition that we go through, just through our region and our district, if you look at last year, I think first, second, and third and fourth at 165, 60 placed in state. So most of these kids that come out of there, they do really well. Palmetto Ridge is in our district now. They were the 2022 dual team state champions. So we got a lot of competition, not only at the district level, but also at the regional level, and then it makes us do better at state.
Well, and it's kind of cool how things work out, but the injuries. I want you to talk about injuries because I was actually watching Ohio State this weekend. They were wrestling and they actually had some on the mat injuries that they had to deal with, let alone in the practice room injuries that affected the team's side of things on how they position their wrestlers. Can you talk about how you deal with that and how you take care of your athletes?
Well, we have one of the best heavyweights in the state right now. That is Nash Hudgens. Nash is going into his sophomore year, and on Thanksgiving Day, he had his appendix burst and he had to go in, and he's going to be out for 6 weeks. So injuries can affect us. But luckily, with the heavyweight, we are very deep. We got 3 or 4 football kids that came in, and they're doing really well for us. I've got Nico Lachou. He's come in and he's filling in Nash's place right now, but injuries really can hurt us. We've got kids that oftentimes, hurt their knees, dislocate their shoulders. We had just had our 215 at the first tournament of the year. His shoulder popped out, then popped in, so he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. To be really good in wrestling, you need a deep bench, okay? Because there is so many injuries. We were just lucky that we had a senior heavyweight that could fill in for Nash until Nash gets back, but that gets hard. Okay, especially in a long season. Wrestling is a very long season. It's very hard on the body, as you know, and it's good to have a deep bench at certain weights where you can fill guys in because kids go out and get hurt all the time.
Talk about the physicality of that though, because and I know you're stressing that with what you're saying, but there's some real contact in wrestling.
Oh yeah, it's like I said. I think it's one of the hardest sports there is. Just for myself, from competing, I've had two knee surgeries. I had shoulder surgery. I had shoulder on my wrist. It's basically, especially when you get into the better competition. There's no pads except for the mat that's on the floor. And the way more people get hurt there in practice because you have to get better for wrestling. You wrestle, and wrestling it's not easy. Okay, and when you're slamming people and you're taking people down, and injuries can happen, but if you want to be good, you have to compete at a high level. And when you had to compete at a high level, you're going to get hurt.
How can people come out and watch some of these events, Coach?
Okay, so our senior night, we're going to have our senior night is going to be on January 19th is our senior night at 5 o'clock. We're going to be wrestling Sarasota High School. The next day, we have the John Joyce Memorial Varsity Tournament. That's going to be the next day. So that will be all day on January 20th. And then we're having the district IBT. That's going to be at Northport High School. I think that starts at 1 o'clock on February 16th. So those are 3 good days to come out and support the wrestling team and, see what wrestling's all about.
And it's kind of cool to have those events at our house, and have the citizens and the students actually come out and see what wrestling's all about. Isn't it kind of cool on for the athletes?
Yeah, and we've made the John Joyce. John Joyce was Dominic Joyce's father. Was my assistant coach that passed away 2 years ago. We made that tournament one of the more premier tournaments in the state, and it's good to have just the best kids from all over the state to come into our building, and then we can showcase our talent. I think we've been privileged in that this tournament has become one of the best, and that people can come out and see our wrestlers compete at the highest level possible.
And what's it like to be the coach and be able to take these athletes into the gymnasiums all over our county and elsewhere, and kind of see the respect you've earned over the time that you've been there?
I don't coach for a job. I coach because I love it. My family is all in. We are a wrestling family. I've come from 3 generations of family. My grandfather was a wrestler, and my kids wrestle. And wrestling changed my life. If it wasn't for wrestling, I wouldn't be sitting where I am. I grew up on a tough area on the south side of Chicago. My best friend is in life in prison. Okay, so I don't do this for a job. I do it because I love it, and I want to see young men and young women not only become state champions in wrestling, but they come out and go be successful in life. I get wrestlers that call me and say, "Thank you, coach, for all that you did for me," and that's the best thing I can ever have in the world.
So, is there anything you'd like to add in to the fan base here and to your athletes in your room?
I would just encourage everybody. I think wrestling is one of the most exciting sports that there ever is. It's action all the time. A lot of people don't know about wrestling, or they think it's professional wrestling. To come out and give us a look, okay? Because I think you're going to be excited. I mean, I think you're going to get a new sport that you're going to fall in love with. And I think wrestling is the greatest sport in the world, and it's going to continue to be the greatest sport in the world. And I just wish that more people around Northport would come out and see it for themselves.
Well, here's a story for you, Coach. I was watching football and I happened to go through the Big Ten network, and I told you Ohio State was on, and they were wrestling. I didn't watch any more football. I watched wrestling because there's something about my chair and wrestling. I broke that chair in a lot more with all the movement that I was making in that chair, because I was definitely juking and doing all kinds of things with every one of those wrestlers on the mat. And anybody who has not been to a wrestling mat or a wrestling match, uh, go. It's addicting. If you haven't ever been, go challenge yourself to something new. These guys really put a lot of hard work and effort into it, and I know that there's something you want to add there, Coach.
Well, and another thing I just want to add that, football players, we've finally got a good number of football players on the team. I believe that wrestling helps football more than any other sport. If you get your football players to come out and wrestling, they're going to be a way better at wrestlers. Some of the best football players in the country, wrestled. Okay. And we want to see more football players come out and be successful because I believe that we can take these football players and make them better football players. I believe that people come out and watch us. They're going to join a new exciting sport. It's fast paced. There's action all the time. And it's something that you really can get into. I think you should give wrestling a chance and come down and check out Northport Wrestling.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because there's a lot of football players who have come through the wrestling mat and they learn how to use their body. Even the lighter weight guys learn how to manipulate their body and do certain things to take a big guy out. So there's just some agility that comes with being a wrestler.
Well, I don't know if you ever heard of Stephen Neal. Stephen Neal was a national champion in wrestling. He didn't play football in college. I think he only played football freshman year. The Patriots came to him, never playing college football, and they said, "Hey, we want to try you. We want to try you on the line." Stephen Neal, who was just a wrestler, played for 10 years in front of Tom Brady, not playing college ball and only playing 1 or 2 years of football in college. So if a wrestler can go out with not much football and become a professional player on one of the best teams in the country, I think that wrestling can help any football player.
Absolutely. Coach, I appreciate you being part of the show and taking time out of your evening to do this. And I'm glad that we had you on.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
All right. You do the same. We'll talk to you soon. So this is John Rawlings with a really cool show tonight. We had a little bit of soccer, a little bit of wrestling. But come and check us out next week. We'll be live at Beef O'Brady's. We'll have some more sporting events. Please share this video. It does help get the word out about our athletes here in Northport. And for the Bobcat Blitz, I almost said Buckeye, but for the Bobcat Blitz, this is John Rawlings, along with Sean Kirkpatrick, who's now announcing soccer at the field. Have a great night, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye now.